Now, one of the things that happens in a state like California that doesn't happen in smaller states is that if you're going to be elected governor or senator, everyone needs to know who you are. And we've got a lot of media markets.
That's why you can never run, by the way.
Yes, well, one of the many reasons why I can never run.
Mm-hmm.
But we've got media markets in San Francisco. We've got them in Sacramento. We've got them in L.A., Orange County, San Diego, Central Valley. You get the gist. So you've got to find a reason to get your name in all the papers so everyone knows who you are. So you can either be a celebrity or you can be a politician that gets behind a ballot initiative that has a lot of support. Pete Wilson did that with 187 when he ran for re-election as governor. Arnold Schwarzenegger actually earned his stripes by putting a ballot initiative together and running on that. It was, I think, something to do with physical fitness or something back in the day. Well, Gavin Newsom is trying to do the same thing by making himself Mr. Gun Control. And so he's running on a gun control platform that is allied up to an initiative that we're going to be voting on here in the state of California. And joining us right now to talk about that is Chuck Michel, who is an attorney, and you can get him online at stoptheammograb.com. Chuck, thanks so much for stopping by.
Thanks for having me, guys.
So what exactly is going on here?
Well, you just you put it right in context there. This is Gavin Newsom's self-promotion effort to get some name recognition and generate conflict so he gets media attention to build his fledgling career for governor in 2018 by putting an initiative on the ballot in November 2016 that would make it very difficult to get ammunition for, among other things, make it very difficult to get ammunition for a firearm and to actually make a firearm useful for defending yourself or your family.
So let me get this straight. They want to treat ammo the same way that they treat guns, where you got to go through the background checks and jump through all the hoops, and they just want to make it very difficult to buy bullets.
Well, much more, actually more difficult than it is to buy a firearm because they're banning the importation. They've gone far beyond the regulation on just getting a firearm, and it's a totally different background check. This is important for folks to understand because you would have to get a license to buy a gun, ammunition. You'd have to have a license to sell ammunition. You couldn't bring ammunition in from another state legally, but all the fees associated with that, and they'd have to build a huge database, an ammunition purchasers database, and they couldn't use the federal gun background check database because you're only allowed to use that. States are only allowed to use that to do a background check for buying an actual firearm. So the state of California would have to replicate the federal background check database, then fold in all its other criminal background checks and mental health background checks. So it's a complicated database assembly effort, bottom line is. And in New York, they tried to do this under the New York SAFE Act and recognized that it was so difficult and estimated it was going to cost over $100 million to try and create this database. And they ultimately scrapped it because it was going to be so much work and so impossible to do.
And he's using San Bernardino, the terrorist attacks, the Islamic terrorist attacks there, as the reason. He was quoted in the Sacramento Bee as saying, after San Bernardino, people are fed up with the NRA. Well, that was an ISIS-inspired attack that involved a bomb factory.
Right. And and people are seeing that, that is really, Newsom is really jumping the intellectual shark, so to speak, here by trying to claim that he's going to pass a law that's going to keep us safe from terrorists. I mean, let's recall that right before San Bernardino, we had those attacks in France, and those France already has
strict gun laws,
far more strict than California. You can't have a gun. Right. So, and they got every gun they need as well as explosives and everything else. So no law makes the difference, and I think that's why people are seeing that they're seeing through, I should say, these kinds of political claims, and they're voting with their wallets. They're out buying guns in record numbers in the state of California, some 3,000 guns a day, to protect themselves and their families.
I think a lot of this is rooted in political correctness, where they do not want to admit that San Bernardino was an Islamic-inspired or ISIS-inspired terrorist act. They want to make it seem like it was just a run-of-the-mill crime with guns and bullets from Americans who are card-carrying members of the NRA, and that's just not true. Religion was the motivation of that event.
And hatred of American culture. I mean, the reality is we're not safe. I mean, Newsom has learned, over the years as a politician to call his act something benign. So he calls it the Safety for All Act. It's really the Safety for None Act. This is about a form of civilian disarmament, another step in that direction. A box of ammo will cost 10 times what it costs now, and there'll be big shortages. And people won't be able to afford the ammunition that they need to use a firearm to defend themselves. And that's part of the plan, I hate to say. I don't like to sound conspiratorial, but these people are smart enough. He's working with a group of lawyers up in San Francisco. They actually wrote it, and they've been behind lots of gun control efforts over the years, very extreme civilian disarmament laws.
All right, Chuck, we're going to have to leave it there. Thanks so much for stopping by. The website is stoptheammograb.com. We appreciate it.
Anytime, guys. Thanks for having me.